Well, hello there. I'm getting in front of the camera today to sort of actually talk about the game without actually being in the game. You might have noticed when I'm doing the playthroughs and kind of showing things off, I'm not really paying attention to, I'm not really saying anything about my plans for the game. And that's kind of what I wanted to do with this video. Uh, it's kind of unclear from the videos what I'm intending to, what I'm trying to do. Basically, what I want to do is make a zombie survival horror RPG RTS type of game, first-person shooter also, and isn't that mix somewhere? I know it sounds really ambitious, or maybe like like I'm trying to cram too many genres into one game, but I know it can work. I've seen some games that do that quite well. And the ones that have failed, I've taken notes off of, and I intend to make something that's a lot, that's actually playable and fun. If you look at a game like DayZ, it's very popular right now, and well, the problem with it is the interface is a pain in the ass. So one of the goals I had was to make an interface that is very simple, very user-friendly, but still gives you the functionality to do everything that you need to do. And I've got a pretty good system for that going. The more I do it, the more I simplify it. I initially intended to have a whole interface menu of things for you to do, like a radio menu pop up when you press a button. Instead, I narrowed that down to the radio menu, or the command menu will be fairly smaller. There will probably be a research menu that will allow you to decide how your research is done, and I'll get into that whole research thing later. But for right now, suffice to say that the interface is going to be clean and simple to use. The interface shouldn't be the hardest boss in the game. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. Next up was me thinking about. I'm just going off the cuff with all this, so. But a lot of people that I mentioned the game to, well, not a lot, but there have been a few that have said that zombies are pretty played out at this point, but that's kind of like saying vampires, mummies, Dracula, well, not a vampire, but werewolves, all that stuff. That's like saying those are all played out too. And skeletons are played out. Everyone knows that these are basic archetypes that you use for bad guys. And I mean, I could have just as easily used robots, aliens, or really any type of creature. I could have used tomatoes from outer space, like killer tomatoes. It doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is I'm using a more realistic type of enemy, because I guess aliens are just as likely as anything else, but zombies, it feels more, come on, who among us hasn't felt like, yeah, what would I do if there actually was a zombie apocalypse? And that's kind of the aim of the game, is to give you the option to take charge in a zombie apocalypse. What would you actually do in the town that you're in? Or if you're in any town there was a zombie apocalypse. Would you be able to gather the resources you need effectively, or would you just try to get the hell out of there? The game itself is going to be based on a random theme where you're going to have random sets of buildings in a grid. The grid is, by smallest version, will be 5 by 5. So that's 25 buildings. The next size up would be 7 by 7, so 49. And then above that would be 9 by 9. That would be the largest type of map, and that would be 81 buildings, which is a lot. You'll start out pretty much in a random spot, and your goal is to either collect the supplies you need to get out of there through building some means of escape, or to collect all of your survivors and build a base. Well, you don't need all the survivors, but you need enough survivors to build a base and effectively defend it. Essentially, the game flow will be highly tied to real time in a way, real in-game time. You notice that I put a lot of effort into getting the sunrise and sunset to be well-timed, and I'm trying to make it so that roughly every 24 minutes will roughly be one day. that's kind of a design choice in the moment. I might change that later on, depending on how quickly the game's playing. I may make that optional so that it could take either longer or shorter amounts of time. But essentially, everything that you do as far as buildings and research will greatly depend on that amount. Will go off that time. So to do a first level part of research in one specific area will likely cost you about 3 days, or will take you about 3 days. To fortify a building with the minimum of 3 people will take you roughly 2 to 3 days. Your first base will probably take a little bit less, just so that you're not stuck in one spot at the beginning. But again, I just have to play it and see how it works out, and also get feedback from the people I'm going to let alpha test it. As far as weapons go, there's going to be a ton of them. I like to have a ton of them. I would like to make them realistic in a way. A lot of games, they compensate for recoil by shaking the screen and all these other things, but the fact of the matter is when you're actually shooting a real gun, which I have some experience in, your whole body doesn't shake. Depending on the type of gun, like an M4, the recoil all goes to the stock, and that goes against your shoulder, and you'll get a little bit of a kick on your shoulder, if anything. So that's not going to move your whole perspective. I intend to make the gun actually move. Currently, the way the gun shoots is the bullets come out of the barrel of that gun. From the tip of that gun is where the bullets go, and whatever angle whatever angle the barrel is pointing. So the key to that is basically every shot will kick the gun in a somewhat random cone of direction, which will make it so that it's more of a realistic type of firing pattern. As opposed to currently the bullets just come out of kind of in a cone for most games. And also, bullet trajectories, I may not get too far into that. I understand the equations for them, but in all honesty, whatever, It only really makes a difference with long-range sniper weapons, which I will have in there most definitely, and that I will work that into there somehow. As far as, different types of weapons, I intend to have at least about, 10 types of melee weapons, ranging from, the usual bat to axe to pipe, katana, broadsword. There will be a good selection of melee weapons, and there will also be a fair selection of guns. I want there to be, basically all guns are essentially the same. Some have larger magazines, some have different muzzle velocities, different power, different calibers. But for the most part, most guns will be pretty similar. So I'm limiting it to about 3 to 4 different types of handguns, about the same number of assault rifles, I think 2 or 3 types of shotguns, and I think 2 or 3 types of sniper rifles and blunderbuss, which is just kind of a gag weapon because it's ridiculous. And it just kind of reminded me of Malibu's Most Wanted when he pulled out that, I think Nick Schwartz pulled out that giant blunderbuss, which was hilarious, or musket, whatever the hell they wanted to call it. But just interesting things like that. But I also wanted to put in some good improvised weapons, such as, the improvised weapons. I wanted them to feel like weapons that you actually would be able to create if you were just scavenging for supplies. So you're not going to find regular frag grenades, but you will be able to create pipe bombs from collecting different materials and having your survivors go out and scavenge these things. They'll be able to come back and they'll give you a report of what they found. They'll give you, if you find pipes and gunpowder, you can make pipe bombs. You'll also be able to make some other interesting types of weapons, such as with some like pressurized gas tanks, like CO2 tanks or whatever. You'll be able to use those to create like a harpoon gun. Be able to use maybe turn a super soaker into a flamethrower or some other, some stuff like that. I think the most interesting thing I came up with was a cannon that shoots bowling balls filled with gunpowder. So it would be like a fragmenting bowling ball cannonball, like a exploding cannonball, basically. Which seems interesting, because it would roll, hit something, then explode, and hit other things. I intend to make all these things. It's going to take a while unless I get more artists. Basically, the thing holding me up the most right now is art. That's the hardest part. Is just getting all the art done and making it look decent. Because I don't really like to move on to do more coding until I have something worth coding it for. I did the little joke with the stick figure with my face on it because I just needed to get something so I could test the AI. I didn't really like doing that. It kind of annoys me because I just look at it. It's funny, but it's not really worth my time if I'm not actually coding something useful for that. So, and plus I'm not getting paid to do this. It's just something in my free time for right now. So until I get the art done, progress will be somewhat slow. But believe me, I am working on the art and trying to find others that will help me out. So if you do know people that are good with Blender or just 2D textures, whatever I need, let me know, because I could use the assistance. But that pretty much sums it up for the weapons. As far as research goes, a lot of people were weary about the research. I say a lot, damn. a lot of the people that I introduced the game to were very wary of research getting in the RTS element getting in the way of the FPS element in a way. Because if you look at games like not too many, Natural Selection, for example, it was a really good game. It was fun, but the commander side for the Marines kind of was lame because you're just completely out of the action, and all you really end up doing is spamming med kits on your guys. So I wanted to get rid of that. I'm trying to make I'm not just trying. I'm making the being the leader of this area. I'm making it less bureaucratic, less paperwork type of thing. More of you get a general overview, but you're more in the action. You're not. It's not. Oh, here's a map. You're going to be staring at this the whole time or anything like that. It's you don't even have a map really. What you'll be ended up doing is just telling your survivors to go places, and you have to keep track of what they're doing by looking at that area. So, for example, in the police station, there's a big open room that you'll have the option to tell your survivors to build on certain additions to it. For example, a research station or a reloading station or some other type of medical area. And all these areas will give you different benefits. Like a reloading station will allow you to create your own ammo. Ammo will be somewhat scarce, so if you want to be able to shoot things, you're going to need to eventually get a reloading station up, which requires you to do the research, so you'll need a research station. And you'll need to assign survivors to go to each of these places. So, it's going to be, the beginning of the game will be interesting because it'll require you to pick a good place to start out with. In addition, you'll need to try to stay alive and not use up too much ammo and find survivors, which is going to be tricky. The zombies aren't going to be like the typical Romero type zombies. They're going to be more of the 28 Days Later zombies, where they're just running up on you and trying to tear your arms off. Not so much of the just slowly coming at you, I'm going to eat your brain type zombies. And that's because it adds a bit more difficulty to the game, and that keeps things fresh and more exciting. It's a lot more interesting when you have a huge mob of fast-moving creatures running at you down the street rather than just one, or just like a group of slow-moving zombies coming after you. I found that kind of sucked in DayZ, where you can basically run from these zombies forever, and nothing's going to happen. That really annoyed me. By the way, this isn't a response to DayZ or in any way. I'm just saying that that's the most recent zombie game I play, and a lot of people like it, but I found just a lot of problems I didn't like with it. But I'm trying to make a pretty good game here. I just need support for it. So if you guys can send me all your money, don't send me any money. But at least not right now. But if you can send people to my videos here to have them watch it and get them interested, and the more interested everybody else gets, the more interested I'll end up getting. I intend to put out an alpha probably by the end of the year, and the alpha will be open to just about anybody that can subscribe to my YouTube channel and send me send me a message. Don't send me a message. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and like it, and I will get you an alpha when I am ready to put those out in the beginning of next year, probably. And then as far as the beta goes, the alpha is going to be, of course, the rough draft. The gameplay is going to be there. The art probably will not be fully there. And then the beta will be the fully polished type of game. I'm going to definitely allow pre-orders on that in a way. Basically, I would like to put the beta up on Steam, and anybody that wants to pre-order will basically get access to the early beta, and there you go. The reason I'm doing it on Steam is basically because I'm not a wizard as far as anti-piracy stuff goes, and it's not that I really... I don't support DRM in any real way. I kind of hate it, to be honest with you, if it's invasive, but Steam's not invasive as far as DRM. Steam's actually a great service in my opinion. It works really well. So I intend to put the game out on Steam at some point when it's finished, and hopefully that'll be sometime next year also. Either next year or the following year. But the beta will definitely be ready by next year. That should be up if I can get Steam to take it. And I intend to put the game out for $15. Seems like probably a fair price, but me being an independent developer working on my own, that's pretty much it. I may do a Kickstarter at some point, but probably not, because I kind of hate Kickstarters. They're like buying stock, but not getting anything from it. But thanks for watching, and thanks for continued support. And either like this or don't dislike it, please. Please don't dislike it. Don't do it. But if you like the videos, like them, subscribe, and send me some more support, because I could use it. Thanks, and I will see you never. Or maybe. Bye now.